Rain, rain, rain. All right, everybody, welcome back to Walks in Wall Street. I hope all of you had a very restful and enjoyable weekend. Last week was pretty much the first week back from all of the Labor Day hiatus, I would say. Things are going to start to pick up not only on Wall Street, but in the business world in general, and I'm sure you're seeing that in your life as well. Today is Sunday, September 10th, 2023. It's about 9:12 p.m. It's raining, rainy night. It's been raining on and off pretty much all day here in New York. We have a gorgeous, and I'm talking about a gorgeous view of the Empire State Building tonight. You can see just off to the right, Madison Square Garden. And we are reporting live directly outside of the new Moynihan Train Hall, which I think looks fantastic. Now, next week is going to be a very busy week on Wall Street and for the economy as a whole. Now, why might I say that? Well, there's a couple things that are going to be going on. Number one, and I would say probably least important, we're going to have two very big mega cap software companies report their quarterly earnings. And we will cover that tomorrow on September 11th, Monday. Oracle will be reporting as well as Adobe. But as we move on to Wednesday, I think that's going to be the day that makes or breaks the street. Now, yes, it is that time of the month again. We are going to hear from the Bureau of Labor Statistics as they release the CPI index, or the Consumer Price Index, for August. That is going to be absolutely critical to pay attention to that, because the CPI is one of the main economic indicators or metrics that the Federal Reserve uses to gauge where monetary policy is going, or where monetary policy is headed, I should say. I think it would be appropriate to just do a quick recap of where we are in terms of inflation. So if you all want to follow along with us tonight, right here on the live stream, just type !CPI in the chat right now, and the Nightbot will drop the link to the Bureau of Labor Statistics website, where you could look at the infographic of inflation. So once again, that is !CPI in the chat, and you will get a 12-month percentage change of the Consumer Price Index and all of the selected categories. So this is this is pretty important, and this is a great free resource for you guys to use. I think we're gonna need the microphone tonight. Give me one moment, hold on. Just because there's gonna be a lot of wind and rain. So intermission time. Intermission early tonight. Sorry about that, it's just raining. All right, testing the microphone. Let me know if you guys could hear me. Thumbs up, thumbs down in the chat. God bless all of you, and God bless the United States of America. Let me just wait to see if we get any thumbs up. Because sometimes if I don't start the stream... Okay, sounds great. All right, guys, great. Sorry about that. So once again, exclamation point CPI in the chat. It is going to drop the link to the 12-month percentage change of the CPI. But you'll also notice it's going to have selected categories. It'll say food at home, energy, electricity, all items less food and energy, which is core CPI, shelter, education and communication, food away from home, gasoline, natural gas, commodities, new vehicle sales, used vehicle sales, as well as medical care. So let's just do a quick recap, shall we? Inflation in the United States peaked in June of 2022 at 9.1% for the CPI. And ever since then, inflation has absolutely collapsed. In June of 2023, so 12 months later, CPI is now at 3%. Now, the July reading ticked up just a little bit to 3.2%. So on Wednesday, September 13th, we are going to get the CPI report for August. Now, if you look at what the majority of economists on Wall Street are forecasting, it's for a 3.6% year-over-year increase. That would be 2 consecutive quarters of inflation ticking up. So we would be sort of rolling back some of the progress there. Now, the core CPI, which, remember, excludes volatile food and energy prices, is expected to rise 4.4%, following a 4.7% gain the month before. The CPI is nearly 6 percentage points lower than the peak of 9.1% reached in June of 2022. So everybody, it doesn't matter if you're a trader on Wall Street, it doesn't matter if you even work on Wall Street, you should have this website up and you should save it to your dashboard because it's a phenomenal resource, and you can kind of gauge which specific categories in the U.S. economy are improving in terms of inflation. Now, obviously, we all know the number one category that has yet to show significant improvement as it relates to prices receding and coming down is, you guessed it, shelter costs. Okay, so a little bit of a review. Shelter in the United States seems to have peaked in March of 2023, right at 8.2%. The last shelter reading we got was last month for July of 2023. We've come all the way down to 7.7%. So let's see, okay, this is very important. Let's see on Wednesday, we'll regroup back here on live stream, and we'll see if there's any material progress for shelter costs coming down. Now, I'll give you my prediction, and we're going to talk about this tonight, but I'll cut right to the chase. I believe that you're going to start to see shelter roll over and come down a little bit. Rental prices are going to ease. You're going to see real estate sales prices to begin to soften, and that is pretty much in accordance to previous economic trends. We've talked about this sort of equation of liquidity. When the Federal Reserve starts to raise interest rates and the cost of capital becomes more expensive, well, the most liquid of the asset classes tend to reprice first, right? So you'll have equities reprice or stocks, and that's why you saw that massive stock market sell-off, particularly in the high beta growth stocks, so like the SaaS stocks, software as a service and the like. Fast forward all the way to this year, you're just starting to see real estate prices come down. You're just starting to see rental prices come down because the real estate market is a less liquid market. There's not a lot of liquidity there. So we'll keep our eyes on that. Fast forward to Thursday, the European Central Bank will announce its monetary policy decision. So we talk about the Federal Reserve a lot on the live stream, mainly because that is the central bank of the United States. And Jerome Powell and all of his buddies at the Federal Reserve essentially set the tone and set the pace of monetary policy for the entire world. So as we look forward to the 14th of September, the European Central Bank will announce its updated monetary policy decision. Now, traders on Wall Street are pricing in a 1 in 3 chance that the central bank will raise its key short-term interest rate by 1/4 percentage point. So that would be about 25 basis points, all the way to 4%. The European Central Bank and Christine Lagarde has increased its target interest rate from negative 0.5% to 3.75% in a little more than a year. Okay. Guys, that's all I got. Want to take a look at futures, I guess? Yes, no? All right, we'll do it. It's Sunday night. It's the Market to Look Ahead live stream. I also think it's the first week of the NFL, if we have any big football fans. Hopefully your team won or whatever is going on over there in the NFL. All right, S&P 500 futures. The E-mini futures contract actually opened up. We're actually about flat, trading at 4,511. Let's take a look at the Dow 30, the Dow Jones Industrial Average E-mini futures contract that trades under the ticker symbol YM. We're down about 9 points, pretty much flat, 34,925. And last but not least, team, the NASDAQ 100. Ticker symbol NQ, that is the E-mini futures contract for the NASDAQ 100. All the high beta growth stocks are in that indice. We opened up about 13 points, trading at 15,500 on the nose. Should we look at some commodities? We'll look at some commodities. Crude oil, ticker symbol CL, trading at $86.89 a barrel. We actually opened down about $1, which is all right. And let's take a look at gold for all of those precious metals fans in the chat. I know we have a lot of precious metals fans in the chat. Gold trading at about $1,920 an ounce, right about $1,900. We'll take a look at some cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin. Let's see where Bitcoin's trading at. About 25,723 on Bitstamp. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and close up the laptop. I'm going to get myself situated here in the rain. I'll say hello to everybody in the chat, and we'll get started. Once again, I hope all of you had a fantastic and restful weekend and that you are all ready to hit it hard and hit the ground running starting tomorrow. So just give me one moment here and we will get started. All right, let's clip this microphone on. It's going to be a little bit difficult for me to read the chats here. Hey, JC, what's up? This is Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. Amen. All righty, guys. Quickly give you a peek of the Hudson Yards development, which is to the west here, I guess. But for tonight, we are going to be walking all the way to Sutton Place, which is on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. It's Sunday night, so all the passengers are coming back from Long Island. They're coming back to the city. Everybody's pretty much back in the office after the Labor Day weekend. All right, let me scroll to the top. That was a long intro. My God, a 15-minute intro. You guys must be bored out of your brains. Jafet Perez is here. Brian, welcome. Christine Gonzalez. Hey, Christine. Always a pleasure to see you. Michael Vosper, Shannon, British Gray, Martin Herrera. Welcome. Nakos, Buy the Book is here. Good to see you as always. Hopefully you had a fantastic weekend with your family. Emerson is here from Brazil. Good to see all of our Brazilian viewers. Sunshine After Rain. Richard Vogel is here. Hey, Richard. Jafet Perez. Alice Woodward. Hey, Alice. Justin S. is opening day for the NFL. Yeah, it's week 1 of the NFL. Now, I'm not a really big football fan per se, but I'll tell you something. I really like seeing the Upper West Side of Manhattan, particularly on Sunday evenings, because it's a big bar scene. particularly on Amsterdam Avenue. You see everybody wearing all the football jerseys. It's kind of like a nice vibe. So I like it. I always watch the Super Bowl. I don't really follow the day-to-day activity of the NFL, but I guess I'm excited. Hey, Thomas Vega's here. What's up, Thomas? John the Landlord says, go Dolphins. John, what is going on, sir? Candace says, hello from Pittsburgh. Welcome. Blues Writers here. God bless you as always. Wow, we got a full house here early. Steph UF. Wendy England, thanks for joining us. Jay says, good Sunday evening, Tom from Ohio. Welcome to all of our viewers from Ohio. EMV, good to see you. Sally's here, and Crypto Meme. Fantastic, fantastic. Mohammed is here from Egypt. Mohammed, how are you, sir? Thank you for joining us on this very wet and rainy New York City night. Now, it was raining pretty much all day, a little bit on and off. I was in Red Hook, Brooklyn today. And you know what? Guys, I have to just say something really quick. I really do appreciate all of the support. Now, on last night's live stream, I mentioned that I was going to be hosting an open house at the Conover, 199 Conover Street in Red Hook, Brooklyn. And 6 people who watched the stream showed up today. Incredible. So it's so cool to be able to, have a chat with all of you and meet you guys in person. It's kind of cool to put, a face to these usernames, you know what I mean? So anyway, it was a really successful open house. I had a lot of fun. Unfortunately, it was pouring raining. But for those of you who came out, I really do hope you enjoyed the Conover. It's a very unique development in Brooklyn. It's about 22 units in total, and it's already about halfway sold out. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be able to sell out that entire building by Q1 of 2024. So again, I really do appreciate the support. It does mean a lot to me. Hey, photos from around New York. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Marcy M, the AUS Fly Girl is here. Life, Liberty, and Guns. Hey, Carl Roth says, Tom, love your real estate listings of that condo in Brooklyn. Great job. Yeah, I tried to post a little bit of a tour of one of the penthouses there. If you haven't seen that, you can just go to the main channel and it'll be up there. All right, let me check out some of the inflation comments here. Hey, Meep is here. What's up, Meep? Jackass says, Tom, so the CPI estimates for Wednesday seem to be higher rather than lower, but the probabilities for the next FOMC meeting seems to show rates staying the same. Any idea why? Yeah, all right, so we'll dive right into it. We'll talk about it. So this week, as we sort of said in the intro, the highlight of the week is really going to involve inflation. So the Bureau of Labor Statistics is going to come out with the Consumer Price Index on Wednesday. At this point in time, and this is an opinionated statement, so take this with an extreme grain of salt. This is just my opinion, and we could sort of discuss it, but at this point in time, I am only concerned about 2 things, or I should say 2 components in the CPI. Because if you look at the 12-month trend from the Consumer Price Index, essentially every single category is in the trajectory of totally collapsing, which is good news, except shelter costs and food. Now, not to sound like a broken record, but I'll quickly explain why I'm only going to be focusing on, or putting most of the weight on, shelter and food, because that's exactly what I think Fed Chair Jerome Powell and all of the Fed presidents are going to be looking at as well. Take a look at the brand new calculation for CPI. Shelter makes up about 40% of the entire index, and the rain is really coming down here. So if we know that shelter costs makes up about 40% of the entire CPI number, and CPI currently has gone from 9.1% this time last year all the way down to 3.2%, well, imagine if we have just started rolling over here in terms of shelter costs. We would get to the 2% inflation target in a snap, maybe even within the next 6 months. That's what I'm betting on. And the reason why I keep hammering everybody in the chat to say, look, go to the Bureau of Labor Statistics website in the link that I provided in the chat and go line item by line item and look at the trajectory. Shelter costs always lag. The most lagging category in CPI is shelter. And for 3 months now, we've had shelter costs roll over. So again, for those of you who are just joining, if you want that piece of data for free, just type CPI in the chat and it'll give you an infographic of every single category of CPI. Now we'll go on to the second part of the question and talk about the Federal Reserve. But real quick, we'll say hi to Billy Joel. He says, Madison Square Garden is the center of the universe as far as I'm concerned. And I agree. Thomas Vegas's Biden inflation plan appears to be working. Richard Smith says, wow, Tom, you're the man. I hope you're right. Let me catch up on some of the comments here. Hey, Stephanie, what's up? Good to see you. Carl Roth says, Tom, here in Canada, food prices are coming down. Deep sudden price drops are contributing to deflation. People are not buying when products go on sale. Raleigh Hiker says, yes, Tom. Oh yeah, we could walk by the Adeles on a very rainy night. But I don't know. What are you guys seeing in your neck of the woods? I can only go based upon what I'm seeing here in New York and Miami. And we just got the updated rent numbers for August, right? So I'm just looking at the data that's coming out. Last month, New York City rent, in terms of average rent, hit an all-time record high. But for August, we actually came down a little bit, which is exactly what I'm seeing on the ground floor, right, working in the real estate business. I also think sellers are going to want to get deals done. And that means they're going to need to come back down to reality in terms of pricing. Because currently, across the board in many markets in the United States, pricing isn't that far off of where we were in 2021 when money cost 3%. So if you have individuals out there that are looking for financing and you're looking at $1 million property, the cost or the monthly cost is significantly higher now, because if you're taking out a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, the average 30-year fixed, according to bankrate.com, is 7.6%. That means many people out there, depending on credit worthiness, depending on credit quality, income, are probably getting quoted 8% money now. So, I don't know. Comment in the chat where all of you are from, and do you see the rental market softening in your neck of the woods? Do you see the new home sales market softening where you are? Do you see the resales market softening where you are? Let us know. Hey, Lenicia says, hey, Tom, the best to ever do it. Thank you for that. Hopefully you had a great weekend. My friend Jen Claus is here from Vancouver. Says, I'm paying $500 per month for food and $1,500 a month for rent. So Jen Claus, a little bit of comparative analysis there. What is the percent change for you for your rent on a year-over-year basis? Now, has it stayed consistent with $1,500, or was it $1,200 last year? So just so we can kind of get a gauge of where things are going. DC322 says it may not last long. Michelle K says, great video, Tom, such a nice place. Oh, thank you, Michelle, appreciate it. CW says there's no inventory on the market. It's actually a very good comment. We'll go into the inventory thing in a little bit. Life, Liberty, and Guns says nothing softening in Chino Hills, California. Everything is still going up. I'm assuming that's where you're from, Chino Hills, California. Jay Sully says food is still elevated for no reason. Benjamin Cunningham says everything is still extremely high here. Raleigh Hikers is going down a bit. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's lagged. We'll talk about inventory because I have now seen about 3 comments about the lack thereof of inventory. Look at all this flooding we have here, right by Penn Station. Just let me try to maneuver around this the best I can. My shoes are going to get soaking wet anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter. Hey, Grammy B says, I don't see any decreases in Texas. I've actually been seeing some significant softening in places in and around Austin, Texas. Now this is the 2 Penn project. We are now crossing Fashion Avenue. Kind of ironically, because it is New York City Fashion Week, everybody. Yeah, RB, says Tom, as you know, Miami Beach is still ticking up. That is the one market that is still trading like crazy. So RB, in my neighborhood where I live, which is just over the Intercoastal from Sunny Isles Beach, there was just a recent trade in my neighborhood, literally on my block. It was a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom home. It traded for over $450,000. I mean, think about that for a second. A 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom home right across the way from Sunny Isles Beach just traded for a hair over $450,000. Now keep in mind, this place is under 1,000 square feet. So, you know, the frothiness is still there. Now I have some theories as to why, right? Because what we see in South Florida are a lot of foreign buyers, number one, and also a lot of buyers from California and the Northeast. And the individuals who are buying from California, so the West Coast, and the Northeast, they're used to seeing prices, you know, on Long Island or in New York City, in Queens, in Jersey City, for, you know, a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, or a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, for significantly higher prices, right around $750,000 to $800,000. So if you see a place down there, right by the beach, you know, you could probably ride your scooter down to the beach or something like that. That guy was weird. You know, for $425,000 to $450,000, these are probably all cash deals. Now, I don't know if it was an all cash deal, but I have a feeling it probably was. It's just the sticker shock in the opposite direction for some people, I would say. To play devil's advocate, the problem that we're seeing, particularly in Miami, is unfortunately that's pushing out a lot of native Miamians, so to speak. Because if you just run some price data on Miami-Dade County in 2019 and do a comparative analysis from 2019 price data in Miami-Dade to now, oh my God. I mean, in some specific neighborhoods, you're talking about 100% increase. And that's not an exaggeration. Perhaps some viewers in the chat tonight are from Miami-Dade County or familiar, and you could probably back me up on that and concur, but things have gotten really crazy. And another problem down in Miami is the lack of inventory, right? They're not really building as much, especially single-family homes in Miami-Dade County. Not a lot of new builds. Hey, CW is here. What's up, CW? Rockstar says, Tom, just like they did and still do to the Hawaiians, they are getting priced out. You know, we have a viewer in the chat, Hawaii. I think she may be here tonight or she may not be here. She recommended that everybody watch this mini documentary series about Hawaii. And if you're interested in what's going on to the Hawaii real estate market, you have got to watch this mini documentary series called Priced Out of Paradise. It is very good. I'll give a little bit of a shout out to Hawaii on that one, but that was a great documentary series about that. Michael Joseph is here. Says, Tom, not buying in a flood zone is really smart. You will never have a problem selling. Yes. If anybody is looking to buy in South Florida, it is paramount, in my opinion, that you do not buy in a flood zone. Now that's going to narrow down your options significantly, but trust me, even though you have flood insurance, it is such a pain to deal with flooding. If anybody lives in South Shore, Long Island, or has ever been through a hurricane or a major flood event, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Even though you have insurance, flooding is just the worst pain in the you-know-what going. So yes, avoid flood zones. It's not worth it. You are going to be regretting that, in my view. Hey, B-Ball is here. Let's see what B-Ball says. Says, Tom, a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom in greater Seattle area will cost you in the neighborhood of $600,000 to $650,000 with no view, but your next door neighbors. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's another good comment, right? I mean, think about that for a second. You know, we were just talking about, and this is such a good conversation, I appreciate everybody. You know, we were just talking about how, you know, people from the West Coast, you know, coming from Seattle or California, you know, even when they go to places like Texas, right? Some specific towns in Texas or some specific towns in Florida, and they see the same home with the same square footage in better weather, and they're like, wait, this is only $420,000? When in Seattle, I'm used to looking at a 3-bedroom house and it's miserable and it's rainy all the time for $800,000, I'm gonna buy this on the spot in all cash. And I think COVID really exposed that because it's getting people to move, and we'll see if it lasts. It's a crazy dichotomy what's going on, but it's a very good point. Hey, Life, Liberty, and Guns, thank you so much for your very generous and kind $10 donation. It says, Tom, you do a very nice job with your walks. We love them, and I got my son to start watching them too. Hey, thank you so much. Life, Liberty, and Guns, I appreciate it. And I really do appreciate that donation. Now, a little bit off topic, and I don't want to, you know, cause a big stir in the chat, but Life, Liberty, and Guns, your username made me think of something. Did anybody see, supposedly, and I saw this like for a couple minutes on Twitter here, there was apparently like a gun safe company that turned over the lock codes to the FBI of just some random American citizen. That's terrifying. Now, it doesn't matter if you like guns, you don't like guns, or whatnot. For a private company to turn over essentially proprietary customer data, I mean, to the federal government, that's just like completely scary. But then again, it sort of goes to our conversation of what we were talking about earlier with, you know, the cashless society, and how I argue that the government already has access to all of our information. They can listen to all of our phone calls. They know all of our text messages. They know how much money we have in the bank. They know how much money we spend on a daily basis. So they already have those capabilities. So we might as well just, you know, make life easier on ourselves and go forward. Anyway, hey Ken, this is Tom. I live near Foxwoods Casino. The property is $375,000 with roughly 2 acres. Hey, Crazy Otto, what's up? Good to see you, Crazy Otto. The 79FH says Texas real estate prices have stayed reasonable throughout, so it seems. Well, another thing that I could potentially see happening in Texas is the following. Now, Texas is a big state, so these are very blanket, broad-based statements, but you would be surprised. Some individuals, again, not all, I don't want to generalize, but some individuals over the last 2 years that have purchased in places like Austin, Texas, Houston, and other neighboring major cities in Texas, from New York, from the Northeast, from Seattle, from California, they say, wow, I can get a 2,500 square foot home in Texas for $300,000. This is a great deal. This is super cheap. But what many people failed to understand and calculate into the equation, now again, not everybody, but some people, is the very, very high property tax rates. If there's any Texans in the chat here, you can probably, chime in. You've got to make sure you run those numbers. And a lot of people are getting stuck right now is because when they went to purchase the property, if you go on Zillow, the property tax estimate that you see on Zillow is always wrong all the time. And I'll tell you why. Because in most cases, it does not have the new property tax calculation. Because when you sell the house, you now have a new assessment based upon the new value. And that is going to go up significantly, particularly from the price increases we've seen from 2021 to 2023. So if you're looking to buy a home, you have got to do your homework and read up on the new tax calculation based upon your new assessment. I would actually completely ignore what you see online. That is just my personal opinion. Now guys, check this out. That's true, Maeve Go says, but there's no state tax, so it evens out. Maybe. Same with Florida, right? Florida doesn't have any state income tax either. This is an awesome shot, everybody, of the Empire State Building lit up in blue. Does anybody know why the Empire State Building is lit up in blue tonight? Hey, the quartering imaginary something. It says, well, New Jersey has the highest property taxes in the United States. You're correct on that. They're even higher than Long Island, New York, particularly places like Nassau and Suffolk County. It is not uncommon, ladies and gentlemen, if you own a home in Nassau, particularly South Shore, Long Island, that's worth $1 million, that's worth $1.3 million, your property tax bill a year could very well be north of $30,000 a year, depending on where you are. Now that's expensive, very expensive. This is the flagship Macy's. It is the world's largest store. Does anybody remember the little feud with Amazon here? Apparently Macy's doesn't own this advertising sign right here. And Amazon was gonna take it over and put this big, Amazon Prime advertisement there. I don't know what happened with that, so. All right, let me catch up on some of the chats here. Capri says Cowboys, even though I am not a fan. Ukrainian Royal says the Empire State Building is blue for the Giants football. Hey, thank you for your donation. And that is right. I forgot, this is week 1 of the NFL. Now, I guess if I had to pick a team to root for, it'd probably be, well, all the New York teams, right? I think there's 3 NFL teams in New York. Is that correct? You have the New York Giants, which is probably the most popular one. Number 2, you have the New York Jets. And number 3, you have the Buffalo Bills in upstate New York. Whoa. Let's get away from that guy. Yeah, you have the Buffalo Bills in upstate New York in Buffalo, which apparently is a very big football town. I was watching, you know what I watch sometimes in my spare time just to have a laugh? I love watching those pizza reviews with Dave Portnoy, who owns Barstool Sports. I love watching those pizza reviews. It's hilarious. And I was watching one the other day of this guy. He doesn't own a pizza shop, but essentially this gentleman in Buffalo, New York, he goes to every single home game there is at the Buffalo Bills Stadium and makes pizzas out of an office, what's it called? Like a filing cabinet. Seriously, that's not a joke. The guy cooks pizzas in the parking lot in a filing cabinet, and he makes his pizzas with dough from Wegmans. It was the most hilarious review I've ever seen in my life. Anyway, I gotta get the link and send that to you guys. Yeah, Mark Francis 076 says Buffalo is too cold. I like Buffalo. I would never live there. I'm not a I want to go to Koreatown. We actually just passed it. So we'll just sort of backtrack. But I want to go back to the Niagara Falls. I really like that. I haven't been since I was a little kid. And the Niagara Falls is very, very beautiful. A-Scan says, I love Wegmans. I love Wegmans too, and they now have a location at the Brooklyn Navy Yard. I'm not sure if anybody knows this. Wegmans, in my opinion, is the best grocery store on the planet. It's better than Whole Foods. It has fresher food. It's just fantastic. I love it. And I believe its headquarters is in upstate New York. Whoa! That guy almost... did you guys see that? That guy went in like a pothole. Anyway, I believe the Wegmans headquarters is in Rochester, New York, which is upstate. And the majority of their stores are not in downstate New York. But now we have a couple. One of which is in the Brooklyn Navy Yard, which is a fantastic store. And coming soon, so breaking news here in New York, which is very exciting, we're gonna have another Wegmans location at Astor Place. So pretty much you could think right near St. Mark's. We've streamed by there many, many times, and coming soon in the old Kmart, that really ratty, sort of broken down Kmart below Facebook's headquarters, there's gonna be a Wegmans coming there, which is gonna be amazing. It's gonna be so great for that neighborhood. Maybe we'll have to do a walking stream. We'll see. Michael Joseph says Wegmans are all over New Jersey now too. I did not know that. I believe they have fresher food than Whole Foods, in my view. All right, 34th Street and 6th Avenue, Avenue of the Americas. If you are all enjoying the live stream so far tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. We usually do these live streams every day around 8:30, and we'd love to have you here. So subscribe if you are not subscribed. Now, speaking of inflation, we're talking about food, we're talking about grocery stores here. The most expensive grocery store in America, I am convinced, is the Whole Foods in downtown Miami. I can't even go there anymore. It's so ridiculously expensive. It's almost cartoonishly expensive. Now, Wegmans, you get great quality. I would say the top of the line quality, and the prices are actually really good. I think Kroger is pretty good as well. Ethan, what's up? Capri says, I don't like Wegmans, it's so phony. I like those mini international stores where you could find the real thing. Interesting. Hey, Donald Trump is here. This is tremendous. This is live stream from Hong Kong one day. I'd be open to it if I could ever get to Hong Kong. I would definitely do it. But thank you for your donation, Donald Trump. Appreciate it. Bighorn MT is here. This is Tom just checking in. Thank you for checking in. It's going to be a very busy week on Wall Street. We'll quickly run through what's going to go on in terms of corporate earnings next week, because there are two major behemoths in the enterprise software world that are going to be reporting early tomorrow. Okay, so we'll probably do a deep dive into those two earnings reports tomorrow night in the live stream. But Oracle, number one on the chopping block, reports tomorrow. Number two, Adobe, which absolutely prints cash, also reports tomorrow as well. Adobe has done a really good job over the past couple of years converting their company to a reoccurring revenue model. So all of the different softwares that they provide, they've been able to very successfully transition to a SaaS model, which stands for software as a service. This is new. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit distracted, but I think this is brand new here. This used to be all like drug dealers, drug addicts lined up all up and down here, but now it seems to be a restaurant. So let's check it out. Let's look at some of the prices. 26 bucks. Not too bad, I guess. Let's see some of the steaks. The steak dishes are like $82 for a steak. So this is like a big steakhouse, I guess. It looks pretty popular too. There's still people in there. Huh. Well, it's good news that they put something in here, because this used to be a really ratty sort of section. So I'm happy about that. This is West 32nd Street, right on Korea Way in Koreatown. Hey, Crazy Otto, what's up? Let me catch up on the comments. I see Elliot Wave Review is here. Says, hey Tom, good to see you, Elliot Wave Review. Elizabeth Gill says, I shop half at Aldi, half at Wegmans. I'm seeing a lot of Publix and Trader Joe's. Hey, Robert is here. What's up, Robert? Welcome. Yeah, Aldi's definitely has good prices. So what would you say? Aldi's is probably like one notch above like a Dollar Tree and a Dollar General, right? Now, I don't believe Dollar Tree and Dollar General sells produce. Do they or do they not? I don't think they do. I don't know. R0773N says, Tom, do you follow Louis Rossman? I know who he is. I know who he is for sure, absolutely. He made it big in New York City with those tech shops selling the like repairs for iPhones. And I believe, no, I think, so don't quote me on this, I think he was in a litigation battle with Apple, and I think he may have won. But I don't know. But yes, I am familiar with them. Short answer is yes. Ethan R says Aldi is a full grocery store, not similar to the dollar stores in any way. Okay. Yeah, there's not too many here, which is why I'm kind of unfamiliar. But speaking of the Dollar Tree and Dollar General, I actually went there. I think it's called something else. Well, one of those chains in Miami, and I got a ton of canned food. I built sort of, well, I didn't build it. I've allocated one of my walk-in closets in my house as a dedicated hurricane room. So there's all dry food in there. I have canned soup. I have canned vegetables. And it should last for like 2 years. I was reading online that you should replenish it or replace it every 2 years. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm a new Floridian. I'm not used to this stuff as a New Yorker, but so one of my closets is now dedicated as a hurricane sort of fallout place. So I got waters in there, I got Gatorades, I have 2 5-gallon Home Depot buckets, because essentially, if you're expecting a major hurricane, which it's kind of ironic we're talking about this, because Hurricane Lee, even though it's not expected to hit the United States, please God, it's not going to hit the United States, it's already a Category 5 storm. So before it makes landfall, right, or a hurricane makes landfall, they advise you to fill up at least 2 5-gallon buckets with water, just so you could at least flush the toilet. So that's all situated now at the house. Anybody here has been through some major hurricanes or some major storms that could advise? At least I'm preparing in some way, shape, or form. So we are now in New York City's Koreatown, which just so happens to be one of my favorite places in the entire city. There's restaurants, there's coffee shops, there's bakeries, there's bars. Everything that you could ever possibly need is right here on 32nd Street. Really cool place. Spider Blaze says, stop ignoring my question. Well, Spider Blaze, there's about 1,500 people in the chat, and I'm on an iPhone 13 mini, so it's very hard for me to read all of the questions, but I'm going to try my best. So let me stop now and scroll all the way through the chat, and I'm going to look for your comment. So let's see. I'm not seeing it. Could you type it in again? Hey, Charlie Richardson, what's up? All right, just type it in again, my friend, and I promise you I'll read it. You know, if some of you are watching this on big screen TVs, which I think you are, I do the best I can to read all the comments, but I'm on an iPhone 13 mini and the text is like mini, and I'm multitasking with the umbrella. So just give me a little bit of slack. I'm doing the best I can. Hey, Greg Peters. What's up, Greg? Good to see you. Somebody says, what kind of gimbal do I use? I'm not too sure what the brand is, but if you go to Amazon.com and just type in gimbal, I literally bought the first choice. So whichever one comes up first, that's the one. Oh, Mohammed. So Mohammed says, Tom, is there any Egyptian museum or restaurant in New York? Very good question, Mohammed. I don't know about museum. However, if you want to see some of the biggest breadth of Egyptian artifacts from ancient Egypt, that would be in the Met Museum. Really stunning, absolutely beautiful, and that is on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. Now, number two, there are actually some really nice Egyptian restaurants in Manhattan. I'll give you my favorite one. It's called Zuba. And I don't think we're gonna have time to walk past it tonight, but that is a really good restaurant. It's an Egyptian restaurant. It's just on the northernmost side of Little Italy, and it's called Zuba, Z-O-O-B-A. It's fantastic. So yeah, there's a whole Egyptian exhibit at the Met Museum on the Upper East Side. It's fantastic. I love ancient Egypt. That's one of my that's my bucket list for my life, is I want to visit the pyramids in Egypt. That's what I want to do. Yeah, marketing videography is amazing at the Met Museum. It is. It's fantastic. Hey, Ethan R. says, Tom, when did you start selling real estate? I'm in the real estate industry here in Philadelphia on the appraisal and analysis side. Yeah, Ethan R. I just started about 3-ish months ago. I joined the Kirsten Jordan team. But if you want to know exactly what I'm doing, if you type !Thomas in the chat, !Thomas in the chat, and just click the link, it'll tell you exactly what my job description is and what I'm doing for the Kirsten Jordan team. So I'll be coming on to obviously drive sales in New York City and Miami, but also work for essentially Kirsten Jordan's husband, who is a very prominent real estate developer and owns a boutique real estate private equity firm, and I will be working there as an analyst. Hey, Chris Tompkins, thank you so much for your generous and kind $5 donation. Says, Tom, how have things changed in Manhattan post-pandemic? What do you miss? That's a very good question. You know, being honest, I would say that I'll give you a negative and I'll give you a positive. I think it's appropriate to do both. Just being fully transparent, post-pandemic in New York City, I have noticed a significant decline and degradation as it relates to the homeless situation, the fentanyl situation, the drugs, and the crime. Now, that's not to freak anybody out. I'm just being honest, right? We do these tours of Manhattan and New York City every night. You see the good and the bad, and I tell it to you straight. However, I think that's improving slowly. And I think it will improve. I think the city is going to put a hammer down on all this crime, particularly in the subways. Funny enough, when I was taking the train all the way from 96th Street back down to 34th Street to begin the stream, I was on a subway car and a massive fight broke out, and there was a wheelchair being thrown. But that's a long story. On the positive side, I've noticed a lot of new people in the city. So what do I mean by that? Well, a lot of individuals have actually, hey, how are you? A lot of individuals have actually taken advantage in 2020 of the lower rents in Manhattan. We actually had a mini real estate flash crash in Manhattan where people could actually move here and get a lot of, well, I should say a lot more apartment for a lot less money. So you're seeing sort of a new demographic from all over the world continue to come to New York, and they have staying power and they're still here. You've seen a big uptick in startup creation, so businesses are actually still choosing New York City as a place to, you know, build their businesses, and I'm seeing that firsthand. So what do I miss about it? I think it's getting a little bit mentally taxing, you know, every day, and I probably walk around this city more than most, and just seeing kind of the despair of things a little bit, particularly around 34th Street, Penn Station, and the Port Authority bus terminal. You know, every day seeing, you know, people shooting heroin at those specific hotspots. It's not all around the city, right? But it's in some specific hotspots. That takes a little bit of a mental toll, and that, I'm going to be honest about that. So I miss not seeing that all the time. Let's just say that. But I'm optimistic things are turning around. It's a good question, and hopefully that answered it. I wanted to come here. This is 31st Street in Manhattan. Now you might be asking yourself, well, why are you here? Well, these are my two favorite Korean restaurants in all of New York City. Number one, this is Her Name is Han. So I'll say that one more time. Anybody who's watching this that wants to visit New York City or who's looking to move to Koreatown, this is a must go for the restaurant. It's called Her Name is Han, and these two restaurants are actually the same owner. So this is number one, it's fantastic. And number two is right here, called Take 31. So Take 31. Same owner, fantastic food, and I would recommend it all day, every day, but you're probably gonna have to make a reservation well in advance. As you can see, there is not a table that is empty in both restaurants. You are gonna get some of the most fantastic and authentic Korean food anywhere in Manhattan right here. And you know, it's almost 10:30 at night and you actually have more people coming in, which is really great to see. It means the restaurant's doing really well. So these two, Her Name is Han and then Take 31. Fantastic restaurants. And they're all extremely packed. Okay. All right, we will now cut over and loop around. I just wanted to take you all through Koreatown a little bit. And I will catch up on some of the chats. Hey, this is Real IK. This is, hey man, I appreciate the lives. It made going to New York City on Friday a little more familiar. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I'm happy that you came to New York. Look, New York is still a great place. We're just going through a little bit of a rough patch here. But we're gonna come out on the other side of it better and stronger than ever, that I can guarantee. R0733 says we had the Korean barbecue that you grill yourself in Manhattan. It was pretty good. Oh, which place was that? Was it Baekjong or was it Love Korean Barbecue? Both of those places are really good. I love those places. Hey, Austin City Limits, thank you for joining. Good to see you. Hey, Rockstar, this is Tom. To be fair, New York City today is much safer than the 80s and 90s. Oh, for sure. Absolutely. And hopefully it didn't come off like I'm saying it's that dangerous. What I'm saying is it's more, especially those of us who are out in it more than others. I think it's safe to say, and I never want to assume, but I think I am probably out walking around New York City than most people. So I see more things naturally. I do about 13 miles a day, a little bit more in this city, at all hours of the day, starting at 8 o'clock and getting home at midnight. So I see a bigger breadth of the city. And so I see more crazy stuff. It's not like the 70s and 80s. I wasn't even born then, but you are 100% correct. But it's going in the wrong way, and that's concerning. That's really all I'm saying. But you're right. You're 1,000% right. Hey, Christian, this is a really good question, actually. Says, Tom, what are your thoughts on executive compensation, especially with S&P 500 companies? That is a phenomenal question. We actually talked about this a little bit yesterday. So, we'll wait till the fire engine goes by us, or the ambulance. This is a great shot of the Empire State Building. Look at that. Hey, Brad's Brains.